Most people ask AI one question and get one answer and move on. And honestly, that's not wrong. It just means you're leaving almost everything on the table. There's a completely different way to work with these tools. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Hi, I'm Dawn. Welcome back to Vintage Intelligence. I came across this framework recently from a guy named Jeff Woods, who works with AI and leadership. It generally changed how I use these tools day to day. It's called CRIT, C-R-I-T, context, role, interview, and task. Let me walk you through what it means, one piece at a time. First, context. Most of us type a short question and expect a great answer back. But think about what's actually happening. AI doesn't know your life. It doesn't know your situation, your history, what you've already tried, what's worked, and what hasn't. It's working with whatever you hand it in that moment, and nothing else. So if you ask it something vague, you get something vague back. It's not that AI isn't useful. It's that it was never given enough to work with. The more real context you hand it, the less generic what comes back will be. Second, role. This one feels like a little silly at first, but instead of just asking for advice, you actually tell the AI who to be. Not give me some feedback, but something like, you're a marketing consultant who specializes in small independent businesses. Be specific about it. You have access to an enormous range of expertise here. And the more precisely you describe the role you want, the more precisely it plays that part. Vague role, vague answer. Specific role, specific answer. Interview. Instead of demanding an answer right away, you ask AI to interview you first. A few questions before it responds to anything. This flips the whole interaction. I'm used to being the one asking the questions and AI just answering. But some of the best insight actually comes from AI asking me something I hadn't thought to mention myself. It's the difference between filling out a form alone and having an actual conversation with someone trying to understand your situation before jumping to a solution. And fourth, task. What you actually want to do with everything you've now given it. This part almost takes care of itself once you've done the first three properly. Because by now, AI actually has something real to work with. Let me show you what all four look like put together. Because on their own, they sound a little abstract. So say you're helping a small business owner figure out their branding, something I actually do on the side. Instead of asking AI something vague like, give me some branding ideas, you'll give it real context first. Who this business actually serves, what they've tried before, what hasn't landed, what makes them different from their competitors. Then the role. You're a brand strategist who specializes in small independent businesses, trying to stand out in a crowded market. Then, instead of asking for an answer right away, you have it interview you 3 or 4 questions before it gives you anything at all. It might ask something like, what does this brand want people to feel that they're not currently feeling? That's generally a useful question I might not have thought to ask myself. Only after all that do you give it the task. Give me actual direction based on everything I've told you. One thing I've learned about the first answer, though, you don't treat it as final. You treat it like a first draft. Because that's really all it is. Tell AI what you like about it, what you don't, and what needs to change. Go back and forth a few times. Even bounce it off a few different AI tools. The value almost never shows up in the first response. It shows up in the third or fourth, once it actually adjusts to what you're telling it instead of guessing at what you want the first time around. There have been times where I'll write a script, run it through AI, say, hey, how does this sound? And then I'll ask it again, maybe a little differently, and it comes back with something completely different. Like, why didn't you give me your A game the first time around? So context, role, interview, task. Give it the real situation, tell it who to be, let it ask you questions before it answers, and then tell it what you actually want. And once you get an answer, don't stop there, push back on it. Try this once this week on something that actually matters to you, not just a throwaway question. That's Vintage Intelligence, where experience meets what's next. And I'll see you in the next one.